I mentioned in the headlines that the Biden administration is closing down its COVID response team in the White House ahead of the end of the emergency declaration in May. You know, I don't understand the rush to end the COVID emergency declaration. You could just keep it in perpetuity and have some of the advanced capacity that provides to you at your disposal, especially because we don't know what's going to happen in the coming months as the virus mutates. But there seems to be this like desperate push to the right on many fronts.
What state still has the state of emergency for COVID?
Which state?
Texas, because he wants to use it for border stuff.
Well, exactly. So he's ending Title 42, but then trying to replace it with basically Trump's policy on immigration. That'll definitely appease the right-wingers on Fox News. They'll definitely not say that the borders are open. I mean, they will, no matter what he does. Same thing with COVID. They'll still call you a COVID authoritarian, even if you end this emergency declaration. And the problems that this is going to create, Bernie highlights this here in this hearing with the Moderna CEO Stephane Bancel. And Moderna, I mean, they're all price gougers, but in the pandemic, Moderna was known to be incredibly aggressive on this front. They are proposing to quadruple the price of the COVID vaccine so that they can make a profit. And Bernie kind of hammered her here on that point.
It was announced that the federal government put money into Moderna. The stock prices soared. You became a multi-billionaire overnight. So it's hard for me not to believe that the federal government played a major role in the development of this drug. But here is the main point. I don't want to talk about what happened 3 years ago. We're here today. You're a multi-billionaire. Other people, top executives in your company are multi-billionaires, all developed as a result of the vaccine. And now we have a situation where you are proposing to quadruple the price of the vaccine once the government stockpile runs out. That will mean that not only, and we'll talk about later on the patient assistance program, but in terms of government, in terms of Medicare, Medicaid, other government agencies, taxpayers are going to have to spend substantially more money. My question to you is, given the fact that you have made billions of dollars, that your company has made huge profits, on behalf of the taxpayers of this country, will you reconsider your decision to quadruple the price of the vaccine?
So, Chairman Sanders, what we have to do is to deal with the complexity I described, and I'm happy to go into more detail through this hearing. This is not the same product. We used to have 10 doses in each vial. Now we're going to have every vial will have a different dose. This is not the same.
I understand it, but quadrupling the price is huge, and I would hope very much that you will reconsider that decision. It's going to cost the taxpayers of this country billions of dollars. That's something you can do.
The volume we had during the pandemic gave us economies of scale we won't have anymore. That is what is different.
Well, okay, first of all, he's, I guess, French. I thought Stephanie was a woman's name in this instance.
My bad. There's an accent on the E.
I don't know if that would have helped me on the sound sheet, Bradley, but regardless, so I have a simple solution for Stephane Bancel there. Since the United States taxpayers pay for that research, we can just take it off your hands. You don't have to worry about raising the price and just give it to the government. I mean, in any sane society, the federal government spending billions of dollars on the research and development of these kinds of life-saving vaccines, made possible by the emergency authorization and the government, and taxpayer money, as Bernie says. In any sane society, that would mean that the state would then own that product because, in terms of investment, the state provided these companies with the necessary funds to develop this life-saving technology. So cool, that inflated your stock price. Everyone got really rich off of that, even if the vaccines were technically free because they were paid for by the government. Moderna and Pfizer made windfall after windfall because of the success of the vaccine that was made possible, again, by taxpayer money. Now, you guys can take your bag and go home. The stock price has gone up. You've all made a bunch of money, I'm sure, on stock buybacks and all of that good stuff. take your bag and then give it to the state, which they'll never do, because now that they have a successful vaccine product, they're going to try to milk it for all it's worth, which they should be waiving. Well, they should have been forced to waive the IP by the Biden administration, but that's the limits of liberalism versus kind of leftism.
I mean, that's the real problem here is like, Bernie's trying to get this guy to make commitments that the structure of our society doesn't allow him to actually make. I do want to just dwell on like how useless the sort of anti-vaxxer left is and basically sort of aiding this robbery, which like these guys are getting out of here with this intellectual property, because this stuff is all confused because half of, maybe not half of the left, but a lot of these morons on the anti-vax side of thing have been acting like these things are causing sudden death. And that's completely confused the response to this, which is like to call for nationalization and public IP for stuff like this. Like, what is the theory here? That Moderna just wants to let rich people get access to this sudden death causing, and this is satire, YouTube, sudden death causing concoction. Like, of course, that's ridiculous. And that's why I say like those people have been working for pharma despite saying everybody else is.
Yeah. So the proposed hike is $130 per vaccine dose without insurance. And that means that what Moderna is attempting to do here, because, well, really, we can blame Biden here, but this all started because the Trump administration in 2020 essentially just gave them a blank check and said, yeah, you have no assurances to us. Here's the taxpayer giveaway, corporate welfare for this company. This is just going to further widen the gap that we have, where because we have privatized healthcare, the poor in this country have such disparate health outcomes to wealthy people who have access to these kinds of things that now, and this already happened during COVID, the gulf is going to continue to widen because people who are uninsured are not going to be able to pay $130 per vaccine dose. And frankly, the government needs to get off its ass and ban this kind of stuff and put some price controls, especially given the context that we just delineated about how we paid for it.